Hey, what's up YouTube? Sky Badger here, and we are back on day 19 of the 100 player fan game Let's Play series. So if we have a look in the Index of Nations, we can see that we're sitting in 4th place, quite comfortably, just ahead of Lord Kek, and we're a little bit off Pakistan. But we are still in the game, and we can still easily catch up and get some points, but as long as our coalition and allies move forwards and obtain victory as a group, that's a win, as far as I'm concerned. So the most advanced nations, as we can see, are listed here, and it's really interesting. I reckon anyone here with an research above 20%, not trying to single anyone out, but that's really high, unless you're researching all of like the lowest level, cheap, quick, fast researchers. I don't know, there's something a little fishy about that. Anyway, as we can see in the newspaper, and probably just by having a look at the map, we have gained some territory and gone to war with new players, and made some new allies. Well, not new, it's just I hadn't talked about them in the past. So, on the new allies front, we have Pakistan. And Pakistan is a friend of King Kongo's, so it was pretty easy to be able to what's that? North Mexico. Man. People need to stop saving these dead nations. Okay, so Pakistan is a friend of King Kongo's. They've played together in the past, or at least against each other. And King Kongo trusts him, and so can I. So we figure that due to the fact we have a massive border along here and down here, it would be easier to ally than fight, considering they have Asia on their back and Europe was wanting to push down. Also, Lord Kek, now we were practically allied with him from the start, but now it's more official. He's gone to war against Indochina, and he's having some mixed results. His artillery is giving his opponent a beating, but so is his air. We can see that by the looks of it, Indochina has gone for a defensive stance, realizing that he can't outmatch Lord Kek in terms of troops. He's gone in and is trying to hold defensive positions. We can see that around his core, he has set up these defensive positions and forts. What's interesting to note though is his defense is made up of light tanks and anti-tank guns. So he lacks anti-air, and Lord Kek should be looking to exploit this by patrolling aircraft over those forts. We can also see that Lord Kek is making the most of artillery to shell out these positions and actually avoid going into them, and this is a great idea and a great way to do it. We can see that Lord Kek is also already flanked around the side and is going to control a lot of Indochina's territory pretty soon. What Lord Kek doesn't capture, I'm sure that the Aussie coalition will as well. What is their coalition name? I always forget. So I'm pretty sure that whatever he doesn't capture, these guys will. We can see that in the recent days they've made a lot of progress in pushing the Asian coalitions out, and we can see that although Korea still holds a little bit of land, it's mostly ending up in the favour of the Aussies now. It was only a few days ago that all of this region down here was under control of the Asian territories, but since Lord Kek has grabbed the attention of the Asians, things have gone more on the Aussies' way. So that's Lord Kek and what he's up to at the moment. Pakistan is fighting Germany, Yugoslavia, Italy, all those good old players, and he's doing pretty well. So initially his opponents, Germany and Yugoslavia, threw a lot of troops at him and were successful in holding him back. But what they failed to anticipate is that this guy here would march in and go for the land grab and take their land. Now, I'm sure that if Finland had have stepped in and maybe assisted them, the fight may have gone more in the favour of the German, Italy and Yugoslavian side, but we can't know for sure. So, if we have a look down here at the moment, we can also see that we're moving up into Yugoslavia. Basically, Germany and Yugoslavia at this point have surrendered to an extent, where they've said they surrendered, but they're still fighting as much as they can, but that is limited. Between the forces we all have, they don't stand much of a chance. So we can also see that King Kongo, our South African ally, is pushed up here as well and is slowly pushing back Italy. We can also see that France has regained some of his territory, and I'm not sure if that's through rebellion or if he's still got a rogue troop somewhere, but at this point he has no industrial complexes, so at best all he can produce is militia, and that's not going to win a war. If we have a quick look at what England's got over here, not much, so let's move on from that. So we can also see that this guy down here we now have shared map terms with. We were originally going to wipe him out, but at the time we had a few other problems elsewhere in the world that needed our attention. So we allied with him and kind of treating him almost like a puppet state. He's producing commandos for me and naval bombers. So the good thing about having him produce commandos is it doubles the rate that I can produce them. I haven't researched it yet, but once I do, I can then, with his help, produce commandos at twice the rate of any other player. And with naval bombers, if he can focus on researching those, I don't have to, as long as he produces them for me. So we've let him stay in the game, but he's basically under our control. He does what we say, which is good. It should stay that way. New England and Quebec have pushed down, and they have dealt a lot of damage and have taken a lot of capitals, and man, it is turning into a mess, and I'm not sure how this one is going to go. The South Americans are putting up a fight from what it appears. As we can see from the low morale, we can see where there's been fighting, and there has been a lot of fighting. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Considering the amount of territory that is under the control of New England and Quebec, I'd say that they're here to stay. Pushing them out at this point is going to be quite a challenge. If we come up here and we look at what's happening in North America, we can see that Quebec is slowly taking down these small remaining inactive AI players, and he's taking his time doing a little bit of capital farming with them and trying to just overall increase his morale situation. So we've been around the world, so let's just head back to what's happening where we are. So on the smaller battlefield, we can see that down here we've engaged with a group of Italian ships. Now Italy attacked King, our South African ally, and we promptly attacked back just so we could help win the fight. Initially within the area, oh that's not good, let's move that back before that gets a chance to attack again. Initially within the playing field, Italy had naval superiority, had a lot of subs and a lot of ships in the region, and while that is still true, we are now doing a lot of damage to them and reducing his naval superiority, and soon it will flip over to us. This group here was a lot fiercer and a lot stronger, as our submarines were dispersed and so were our ships. But since Italy gave us the chance to regroup by not attacking directly, we've been able to muster a force that is able to challenge his, and as you can see here, I've sent in the submarines and they're doing a lot of damage as well. And with the help of the naval bombers produced by our new puppet state ally, DF Pilot, we should be able to spot any submarines in the area and then start wiping them out and taking over the Mediterranean. Once we get the Mediterranean, we can start to send troops over back and forth safely, but it's not going to be an issue at this point because although Italy had naval superiority right down here, he forgot to fortify and challenge the area down here, the Gibraltar Straits I believe it is, and we've just been able to send troops across there unchallenged, and that's sweet. So that's where we come up to here, where our allies are slowly taking the land and pushing forwards. Italy has adopted a similar sort of defense to what Indochina has, in that he's got these defenses around his core provinces. The issue though is he has a fair bit of anti-air, but not enough. To be able to compete against King Kongo, you're going to need a lot of anti-air, and when I mean a lot of anti-air, I mean not enough. You can't have enough. So basically at this point, unless Italy still has some remaining fighter interceptors and a shit ton of anti-air, there's not much he can do in the long run. In fact, I'm surprised he hasn't pulled, or he didn't pull his battleships back and use them as coastal artillery to fire on positions like this where he is keeping aircraft and to defend these cities down here. If he parked battleships here and here, he could very easily stop enemy troops from advancing down to here, and then only have to worry about troops down here, and that could easily be defended with rockets. So that's what's happening there on a small scale. So if we also zoom in, we can see that we are taking a lot of territory in here fast under the cover of our tactical bombers and fighters, and I don't suspect Yugoslavia is going to put up too much of a challenge. In fact, I asked if I could have Greece and he said yes. So I don't know whether to be nice and stop once I've captured Greece or keep going forwards. I guess I'll decide when it comes to it. In terms of what we're building at the moment, we're working on just 3 battleships and a few destroyers. Well, 1 destroyer. As we can see, we had a little bit of a problem with that naval base there, and that was wrong building. And that was due to the bombardment of the Italian ships on this port here. This is actually only 1 hour from being complete, and due to the fact that Italy's been bombarding it, he's managed to stall it quite a bit. Last night before I went to bed, I did stop the production of the ship so it wouldn't just spawn out into the open and be vulnerable to attack. So now that I think about it, if I had have let it complete, I ran the risk of it being destroyed. So I'm a little iffy on whether I made the right choice there. The other ports though are a little bit behind. This one here took a lot of damage from saboteurs over the last few days, and I've only just able to get it back running again. This one here is doing the best, and its first battleship will be up in 7 hours, which will be when I'm asleep, so I'm considering shutting it down, although it is within a sub-wall, so it should be safe. After I finish producing these battleships, I am going to start producing carriers, and then I can have a fully maxed out working battle group. Apart from working on my army, which I haven't been doing much of, I have been spending a lot of resources on upgrading our economy. As you can see here, a lot of buildings, a lot of resources spent on oil and food in particular, and that's going to be really important over the next few days, especially as we take new territory in Europe. We're going to need more food to feed a bigger population, to train more troops, to keep that population. So going forwards, in terms of our economy, I am going to, just once this video is done, spend some more resources on upgrading our oil production, because we're going to use a shit ton of oil this game, and I mean a lot. We're going to need oil for more ships, for more planes. Like, within the next 10 days, I need to build another 8 destroyers, 9 submarines, 3 battleships, 5 cruisers, 3 aircraft carriers, and then on top of that, I'll need another 4 interceptors, no, that's 7 interceptors, 4 tactical bombers, and another 2 naval bombers. So that is a lot of oil right there, and considering I'm also going to have to replace light tanks and build more light tanks, I'm going to need a lot. So we need to make sure that our oil is able to keep up on that, and then after that 10 days I need to build all that again, plus more for my expanding naval power. So that's why we need to stay on top of that, so we can keep up with these projects and meet deadlines, so we can continue to contest power. Despite the fact we haven't built too much over the past few days, we can see that we still actually have quite a lot of troops at 122, and that is quite a lot. So I'm pretty happy with where we stand at the moment, and we can afford to stop producing for the time being. So going forwards and looking at the grand picture at the moment, it's hard to say, but once Europe is dealt with, including Finland, you may have stayed out of this one, but the fact you did not help your, well, they look like your allies is a good sign that we won't work with you either. If you don't help your allies, it's a bad look when you're trying to make new ones. So Finland, the fact you didn't help these guys is not good at all for your sake. So you might be next on the chopping block. We'll have to see how things play out. And at some point, we also have to move into England, because once again, although England wasn't allied with these guys, he's not doing much, and it's just free land for the taking by the looks of it. So that's that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.